And to some security matters now, where experts have emphasized the need for Nigeria to rethink strategies and approach to tackling insecurity. This formed part of recommendations at the International Security Conference in Lagos. Senior correspondent Ivy Kanu reports.
The Afe Babalola Auditorium had security experts, others who have come to share ideas on the theme, building a cohesive security infrastructure for national security, development and economic prosperity. The president, who joined via Zoom, said the discourse is born out of the need for better secured society.
Our goal is to assist professionals, corporate organizations and governments to take decisions that will affect positively their future generations and the future of the country.
Nigeria's position at the crossroads of economic development and security challenges also underscores the need for multifaceted approach.
We thought it was proper to provide opportunity for professionals to contribute meaningfully to the national discourse as far as it concerns national security and what to do.
The speakers, the earlier the country begins to think globally, the better for all, as terrorism, cyber attacks know no border.
Things like economic instability, you see that we have just roomed our naira not up to a year ago, and in less than that time, you can see the massive change that has happened.
For those who are serving under our national security institution, please take home peace. We are part of the crisis. We are within the region. Whatever happens in Sahel will affect us.
We must also ensure that these efforts are conducted with transparency.
We don't have the infrastructure for crime documentation in Nigeria. For example, you can commit a crime in Lagos and you go to Abuja, you're not being captured.
One of those honored at the conference is Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Fayode Adegoke.
Intelligence matter from everybody, from members of the public, from organizations, from business, holdings, and so on. So once we have that, it will be easy for us to reduce crime.
Topics treated are thinking globally, securing locally, when world events show up at your front door, strengthening Nigeria's internal security institutions, and others. Ivy Kanu, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, let's take you to Plateau State, where the Nigeria Immigration Service says it will continue to collaborate and synergize with relevant agencies and sustain the deployment of cutting-edge technology to improve border security and migration. This was part of resolutions reached at the end of this year's Controller General Conference in Jos. Punam Joshua reports.
Recognizing the complexities of contemporary challenges in border safety, migration management and securing Nigeria's territorial integrity is what the Immigration Service says it will focus more in the coming days. The resolution was agreed at the official closure of the Controller General Annual Conference that took place in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Other areas of focus for the service are assess the current state and preparedness of the Nigerian Immigration Service to meet its statutory mandate, identifying emerging challenges and opportunities in border governance and migration management, as well as develop sustainable strategies for repositioning the NIS towards enhancing national security and economic interest.
The three-day conference and technical sessions were conducted in plenary sessions, including syndicate groups, which were 4 of them, and presentations as well, and a peer-to-peer learning exercise. Extracts from proceedings identifying the need to implement sustainable cross-cutting reforms that guarantee seamless service delivery by a well-motivated and dedicated workforce.
Your dedication to the cause of border security and immigration management is truly commendable.
The service says it is committed to restructure and improve operations at the divisional immigration offices in all the 774 local government areas to strengthen intelligence gathering and proactive engagement with border communities in Nigeria. Funom Joshua, TVC News, Jos.
Well, let's shift our focus to Kaduna State, where traditional and religious leaders from the Northwest have declared their support for the girl-child education. Led by the Sultan of Sokoto, the conference aims to break down barriers that keep girls out of school.
Northwest region of Nigeria, traditional and religious leaders have come together in a strong push to improve access to education for girls. Leading this advocacy is the Sultan of Sokoto, who has emphasized that educating girls aligns with the teachings of Islam and warned against sermons that discourage it.
Our presence shows the commitment that we have to educate our children, especially the girl child. An illiterate society is a very dangerous society to anybody. While an educated one, definitely we know, is an asset. If you are not educated, you can't even worship Almighty Allah, who created you to worship Him. Such problems that we've been facing of insecurity, terrorism, banditry, kidnapping and whatever, would have been things of the past.
And I want to say on behalf of the entire Christian community in the Northwest, we are going to do all within our power, within our NGOs, within our arms, from our Sunday schools down to our schools, to ensure that the issue of girl-child education is at the front corner.
The Deputy Governor, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, cited World Bank statistics showing Nigeria has up to 15 million out-of-school children. Insecurity in the Northwest has worsened the situation. To help, the World Bank's Agile program has expanded to 18 states, adding $700 million to aid out-of-school girls, including those who are married or disabled.
We are aware that Nigeria's population is composed of about 49% females, and to ignore the educational needs of this segment of the population is to hold back on our progress as a nation. Education and skills are transformative tools essential for closing gender gaps.
The World Bank is supporting Nigeria with $1.2 billion to keep girls in school and empower them with the necessary skills that will positively impact their lives.
Leaders were urged to break cultural and economic barriers. The conference also addressed violence, poverty, and traditions that block girls' education. Advocates hope it will ensure a future where all girls can succeed. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
And to Adama State, where the government and the United Nations Children's Fund have inaugurated a social protection policy to reduce poverty and improve the well-being of residents. Senior reporter Owolabi Adenusi filed in this report.
Adamawa has been rated as one of the states with lower internal revenue generation. This has been of concern to the Fintiri-led administration, who has continued working around the clock to reduce poverty among residents. Recently, it supported over 35,000 small-scale businesses with grants and provided vocational training for 5,000 youths. The policy aligns with the federal government's development plan 2020 to 2025 and the global sustainable goals. The state, in collaboration with UNICEF, is launching a social protection policy and cost implementation plan, monitoring, evaluation, accountability and learning. The event also addresses the challenges posed by climate change and insecurity, which have exposed citizens to various hardships.
Social protection policy to drive the process of empowering the citizens in Adama State is taking place with the foundation of this document. It's a document that has been painstakingly put together with the help of consultants and sponsored by the UNICEF.
Mr. Fintiri said the social protection policy seeks to reduce poverty and improve the well-being of all citizens through deliberate interventions.
The educational sector, which is the bedrock of the success of every society, the government is supporting access to quality of education through the payment of West African Examination Council and the National Examination Council exam fees. construction of model schools in each of the local governments, and then the constant payment of students' bursary allowances. In the health sector, the government is strengthening the primary healthcare system through expanding health infrastructure and equipment, medical personnel recruitment, and the contributory pensions here health insurance scheme.
In the meantime, Director General of PAWECA, Michael Ezira, announced the governor's approval of the disbursement of another tranche of the Fintiri wallet, while Permanent Secretary Hassan Modibo thanked development partners for their support.
To our esteemed development partners, the UNICEF, our sincere gratitude extends to each of you for your collaboration, resource, and enterprise.
The initiative demonstrates the government's commitment to transparency, efficiency, and accountability in addressing socio-economic hardship and insurgency in Adama State.
Now, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Mohammed Sani, has assured that legislative action will continue on the tax reform bill sent by President Bola Tinubu. The senator, who represents the Niger East Senatorial District, mentions that the brief received from the chairman of FIRS didn't include tax raise for Nigerians.
I'm a legislator. Correspondence have come from Mr. President, and we are looking at the correspondence of Mr. President. We have done first reading of that. There is no any correspondence from Mr. President halting it. Not until we receive any further communication, we will continue to do our legislative functions on it. And so far so good. We have done first reading in the Red Chamber. In the House of Representatives, they have done the first and second reading. I believe by the time we reconvene for the plenary, we will take the second reading. And then my committee will embark on working to see what it is, what the four bills are carrying.
Now, the people of Biseni Kingdom in Bayelsa State are urgently seeking help after flood affected their communities, causing damage worth millions of naira. Joseph Kunde has more on this.
During a flood inspection visit by the Bayelsa State Commissioner of Environment 2 weeks ago, the road to Biseni was found nearly impassable as vehicles struggled through rising waters that exceeded expectations this year. After walking some distance, the journey continues by traveling through the Taylor Creek, where homes and roads are completely underwater. Residents have had to move to makeshift camps, often with little more than their families. Owefa Gode is one of those living in a makeshift camp. He expresses concern about the lack of basic services and the difficulties of living on an overcrowded bridge, which is now filled with new structures to house more displaced persons.
Most houses and the chairs, their properties are in the water. Because even if you bring them to this place, this little place on the bridge like this cannot accommodate the properties we have. So most property has got damaged.
Key facilities like healthcare centers and schools have also been impacted, prompting community leaders to suggest both short-term and long-term solutions to address the annual flooding.
The short-term planning is the one that we proposed within this island that you are seeing people settling, so that can be a temporary form of a refugee camp. Then the long-term planning is a dike.
With the present situation of the country, Nigeria, we're adding this natural disaster. What do you expect from the youth? I am using this media to call on the state, the national security advisor to the president. They should raise the emergency budget to come and rescue my people.
In his assessment of the damage in Biseni, the Deputy Director of the Environmental Defenders Network, Maurice Alagwa,